I wonder if we're in the right meeting today. I think he like changes the links every once in a while, but I didn't see an updated link for today. It's a good question. Let me know if you see a new meeting link.
All right. Nothing in the WhatsApp.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Odd that we're the only two people in here though.
Well, at least Otter AI is doing its job. I'll ping him. I'll ping the group. Uh,
Looks like we've used the same link for the past few weeks.
yeah. Oh, there's Chris though. So
Here we go.
Hey everybody, sorry about that. Give me 1 second.
Hey Chris.
Hey,
Yeah, Chris.
cool.
there we go.
Hey guys.
Cool. All right. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just getting things set up. I just had to wrap another work code call. All right, cool. Before we jump into it, I just wanted to share that I'm gonna start. I think everybody here now has kind of like a fair understanding of what's to be expected on a week over week basis, and so I don't want to I feel like we don't need to babysit everybody on a week over week. So I think I'm going to start shifting it to going through the milestones and making them more stretch goals with the understanding of whatever you guys are going to do on a week to week basis, you're still going to have to do whatever your day to day is, you're still going to have to do. But like we'll do kind of more of like these bi-monthly check-ins in the sense that we're going to be going through the milestones every 2 weeks and then utilize the other weeks for just workshopping different things on the go-to-market side. So that's where I'll be sharing with you guys. Like for example, next week, I think the two topics I wanted to cover is number one is like the go-to-market slide. We didn't really get through to finish that, but what the go-to-market slide for an investor deck needs to look like. So I can share with you guys kind of like what a few templates of what we would want to look for, and then you guys can at least like start thinking about that. So it's good to know what investors want, but it's also it's fairly logical and practical. So it's what you should be striving for in terms of the level of visibility and transparency around what your go-to-market is, right? So um, that's one topic I wanted to cover, and then two would just be like, and this will probably be an ongoing thing, but just kind of like basic tech stack fundamentals on a go-to-market side. So what are you using, for just email setup and deliverability and just I'm surprised, but like a lot of times people still aren't fully aware of like how to do email campaigns, right? And like just but and looking at tech stack for how to set those things up, as well as like just little things that you have to set up on the DNS servers so that you don't get put into spam, that you shouldn't be using your primary domain for any kind of outbound, messaging, just stuff like that. Some of it's probably gonna be redundant for some of you guys, but there is a good, large percentage of people that I still run into that still do these things. And I think it's just good to kind of cover best practices. So again, email might be a basic thing, but then also things like LinkedIn, like how do you leverage LinkedIn? Not just like, not just for like just, LinkedIn ad requests and DMs and scaling that up as we've already talked about before, but like, how do you create some kind of like presence and how do you leverage that presence for your go-to-market and acquiring new customers, right? At scale, right? So it's not like you have to go in and log in and comment for 2 hours every single day in order for you to kind of like work these deals, but like how can you scale some of these kinds of things that elicits engagement with your target ICP, but at the same time gets them to come back to you. So what does that content loop have to look like in order for you to do it? What are some, again, like tech stack tools that you can use to help you automate some of those things to cut that down from 2 hours to 30 minutes a day? So just again, basic things, how to, we'll go through a bunch. There's a bunch of different types of, tech stack that we can cover on the different channels that you might use on your go-to-market. So things like when if you're targeting SMB, mid-market companies, it's going to be a different type of channel, different type of tech stack versus if you're going after enterprise. So we'll cover what those things are. So I'll share that in the WhatsApp group, and then also like I'll start putting together a survey for everybody to kind of like throw in their 2 cents of what they would like to cover in these workshops, so that we just kind of knock them out too, and make sure it's providing value back to you guys. So that's the only shift. I'll share that with everybody in WhatsApp again, those that aren't here, so everybody knows. But that's probably the biggest thing is we'll shift from weekly milestone check-ins to 2 week milestone check-ins, and then we'll do the other weeks on workshopping. So it gives you guys like practical things to utilize on your go-to-market. That being said, any questions on that before we jump in? All right, cool. Thank you. Let me share my screen.
Chris, I actually do have one quick question for you.
Sure.
So I know we're talking a lot about like tech stacks for go-to-market outreach. I want to do you recommend any like email analytic tools? Like I want to send them out through my Gmail personally, like to kind of see where I don't know. I've used Apollo before and I've used like RTO and all these other stuff, but
Yeah.
I wanted to just get something simple just to get a count of like how many emails I send, how many were open, because when I send like 10 or 15, I can track them. But after I send like 500, I'm like, I can't track this anymore. So if you have
Yeah.
any email analytic tools that's cheap,
The
let me know.
the easiest one I would say is Mail Suite. Yeah, you can do and I'll share it in here. It's just a Google Chrome extension, but it allows you to track sends, outreaches, and clicks and all that kind of stuff.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, I just sent it here. Um, and I'll just also point out like a lot of these email tracking tools around opens and clicks, things like HubSpot that's going to give you some kind of reporting, or any email service provider, like that's giving you these numbers. And I would say like it's take it all with a grain of salt because uh most of it's inaccurate. And what I mean by that is like you have bots, like Google is going to have bots that's going to like, or like, corporate emails are going to have bots that's going to just automatically open emails and then they're going to click on links, just as a security measure. So, and sometimes that gets tracked and you're going to see like, oh, 50% open. And it's like, it's not real. Like if you go on HubSpot and you look at like the data tracking, you're going to see like all of them were open like literally within a minute of them being sent out, right? So that's not real. Um, the only times where I've found, and this is something we've dealt with on our business side of things, but like the only time that you can actually have accurate data is like if you implant your own cookies into the emails that you're sending, and ideally it's going to be existing users so that you know that if they're logged into your application or your platform, that whatever they're then doing is going to be trackable. And that's the most accurate way to know what people are doing with email receivings. So I'll run through that though too, but in a pinch, Mail Suite's okay. It's fairly decent. So I would just try that for now. But again, just know the metrics and know that take it all with a grain of salt. All
Thank
right,
you.
cool. All that said, let's jump in. We're gonna start with, and let me just share my screen. All right, so we got Alex M.
Hey guys. Um, Kind of slow on the B2B sales direct over the last like 2 weeks because of holidays, but leaned into the consumer side and doing a launch week thing this week. It's a thing called launchweek.dev. You guys might actually be interested in launchweek.dev. It's like kind of a protocol for launching consumer products, which we have a pretty strong consumer angle as well and have a pretty big community there. So we're trying to accelerate that side. Probably getting back into the B2B sales when I'm back in San Francisco next week. But most of that's in-person stuff, so it's kind of hard to do remote. Probably will add a stretch goal to try and schedule some meetings in the next couple days.
Okay. I mean, let's just go back to that there real quick. Like, I mean, in terms of like stretch goals of what you want to do with setting up meetings, what's kind of been a benchmark of what you've been doing before, say, the holidays, and what would be something that you'd like to be able to accomplish between now and then 2 weeks from now? Let's just set like a number that you feel is going to be somewhat of a stretch, but like again, historically what you've been able to see.
Yeah, we're trying to get another 100 users added to the platform the next week. We released the paid mode, so we're now trying to rapidly onboard people to that. We have commits from a couple of VCs that are if we get to 100 paid customers, then we can raise it around pretty easily. Um, So that's the main goal over the next like 2 weeks or so. But it's kind of a
Okay.
sprint in a couple directions because there's consumer and then B2B sales. Trying to get the B2B deals at least like mostly locked in so that we can then show those as a part of the investor pitch as well.
Okay.
The goal for February is going to be raising seed or raising pre-seed. So we're hoping to kind of get to the point where all of our KPIs look good for that.
Okay. Got it. Okay. All right, Busolo.
Hey Chris, how you doing?
Good.
Good. So last time we met, I did say there was a problem between, or there was a challenge. There were people viewing my TikTok videos and they were coming to
Mhm.
my website, to my landing page, but they were not taking the survey. And I've been
Yes.
able to identify the problem. And the problem is that there's no alignment between my TikTok videos, which are emotional, which are human, which are engaging people. But then they come to my landing page, and my landing page is all about the product. It's very product
Yeah.
focused. So there's a big, disalignment there. And what I'm thinking, and please let me know if I'm thinking the right way, that the possible solution is to align my TikTok content to one dominant narrative. Right now, my TikTok content is all about money rules, it's about money habits, it's about financial facts. So I need to focus on one area, on one dominant story, and then continue this story or this narrative on the landing page. So they come on TikTok, they see a story on maybe on financial facts or something like that, and then they go to the landing page and that story actually continues on the landing page. And then also what I need to do is to rewrite the header section of my landing page to be more emotional rather than technical, rather than being technical.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so, and then a third thing I think I need to do is that on my landing page, I need to make the survey feel like a benefit rather than a task. Like
Yes.
example, I can say something like what you will get from completing this survey, and then maybe list a few things. So actually give them an incentive to complete the survey. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. I mean, I think that makes sense, right? My question is, how did you identify that it's the landing page issue and that specifically it's not aligned?
Well, I went to Google Analytics and there's a bounce rate of 80%, which I think is
Okay.
high.
Yeah.
That's pretty high.
To
So
the Google form.
I'm sorry.
A bounce rate of 80% on the Google form
No, on the landing page.
on the landing page. Okay, so not
Yeah.
even
So
to the
they come
form.
to the landing page and they're spending an average 29 seconds on the landing
Got it.
page.
Okay. So they see it and then they're like, what the hell is this? And they're
Yeah,
basically leaving.
exactly.
Okay.
And it's
Got it.
not, they're seeing the landing page and they're thinking, Oh, I saw the TikTok video, but this isn't what I was expecting
Yeah,
on the
so it feels
landing
like a bait
page.
and switch for them. I understand. Okay,
Yeah,
so that makes
absolutely.
sense. Um, so I think between now and then, again, in 2 weeks' time from now, it wouldn't be that difficult for you to spin up like 5 different landing pages, right? I think keep the content the same. I wouldn't try to change the content because it is driving traffic, so that's not the problem you have to diagnose, fix. But I
Yeah,
think just making sure that whatever the video is, that it's being driven, you're linking to that specific video back to a landing page that's aligned to it, right? And the Google form, I actually wouldn't change too much other than the intro, like the header of the Google form, and then maybe
yeah,
like the first 2 questions, right? So the reason why I say that is because if people start the form and then they bounce, then you know it's also the form issue versus like maybe if you get them to the form and you don't have to do too much to change it, you can just highlight what value they're going to get from it. So the incentive you talk about, whatever it's going to be like the motivator for them to do it, just cover that. So make sure that aligns with everything else and then make the first like 2 questions really easy. Like, what's your name? Right. Or like, whatever it's going to be to just that, that if somebody fills in their name and then leaves, right, that it's the rest of the form that is the issue. So that, you know what I'm saying?
okay, so I'm just trying to clarify. Are you saying write down the value or tell them the value they'll get from filling the form at the beginning of the form itself or on the landing page?
On the beginning of the form itself.
Oh, okay.
The
Okay.
landing page, I don't care what you say. Like I mean, I would not obviously say that they're going to be filling out a form or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, but again, it's like if I need to fill out something in order for me to, I don't know, the last time I filled out something was for, like to win something that's worth like a few $1,000s. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
fill out whatever they ask me. But so it just has to feel like they're gonna get something that they feel is like gonna be, you know, valuable or beneficial
Big
enough that they're
benefits.
gonna
Yeah.
spend the time. So whatever that is, definitely put that onto the landing page so it gets them to click on the button. Because
Yeah.
right now, what you're trying to solve for right now is to just decrease the bounce rate and you have analytics on the Google form, right? So you know if they're visiting the Google form. So your goal is to basically get to see if you get 50% of the traffic to the Google form.
Yeah.
That's it,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, thank you.
Don't overcomplicate the rest of it. If you can get them to the Google form, you solved a big problem,
Okay. Okay, cool.
right? And if they're
Yeah.
still not filling it out after you get half of the traffic to go to the Google form, then let's spend time on the Google form, right? But like again, you don't have to revamp the whole thing because again, we don't know if it's going to make a difference or not yet.
Yeah. Thank you.
We
And
just
then
need
you
to
mentioned,
solve for one step at a time.
okay, thanks, Chris. Now you mentioned something about having 5 landing pages.
Yes,
How do you mean?
testing purposes.
So how do you mean? So have a different landing page for
You
each
could literally have like
TikTok area.
subdomains where it's like, yeah, it could be you have, website.com/page one,
Okay, okay,
website.com/page two. You're just spinning up
okay, got
different
it.
landing pages to test the language that make again, like I don't know if you have different types of whatever the videos are, but if they're not all saying the same thing, if you have like 50 videos, right? Like I don't imagine one landing page is going to work for all 50 videos.
Okay,
Do you
okay,
get what
that
I'm
makes
saying?
sense. Yes.
Right? It might one landing page you might be able to bucket, 50 videos into 5 topics
Yeah.
and then use each of those, 10 videos for that each for topic one, drive them to landing page
For
one.
each landing page. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other 10 that's under topic two, drive them to landing page two, right?
Yeah.
Just think of it from that point of view. Like I don't imagine that if you're doing, dozens of videos that it would be aligned to a single landing page.
Okay. Okay, I'll definitely do that because right now I've just got the one landing page.
Yeah.
And then you're right. I've got like 5 different topic areas
Yeah.
on the
And so
TikTok
don't change the,
videos. Yeah.
if you're going to do anything with the form, just change the header and then make the first question easy so that we just know that what we really want is, I don't want you to change all of the form because we haven't had anybody fill it out. So
Yeah.
we don't know if that's really a problem.
Yeah.
Right now, we just want to solve for the traffic to get to the form.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, cool. Ryland?
Hey, Chris, thanks for your
Hey, what's
time.
up, man?
Yeah,
All right,
so I
so
added some notes
email.
there.
Yep. So you're able to
Yes.
figure out any mail.
I'm sorry.
You're able to figure out any mail.
Yeah, super easy. It's even got an API that I'd likely integrate. So I haven't tested out the emails yet. So right now I'm working on creating outreach messaging that feels right for me. And I'm trying to do this for I'm doing this for a couple of the um, leads that I have found to be really, really useful. And as I'm doing this, I'm figuring out like what the commonalities are, what the differentiators are, because I'd like to automate this at some point and create drafts using N8N based on the data that I've collected, the enrichment data that I've collected from various sources.
Hmm.
So I haven't sent out any emails yet, but I do have emails from the top 10 qualified leads that I have of the list of 70. And so my goal well, I'll just stop there. But I have some ideas on like what to target for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so what would you like to target for the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, my focus for the next 6 weeks is to get outreach to all these 70 qualified leads. So basically go through that entire list. And what I'd really like to do is work out the kinks in the next set of leads that I have from another VC source that I have that I'm part of their talent network for, and move them through this process to work out some of the kinks so that I can turn this into a more automated process, so that I can just repeat this and I don't know, backlog, get as many people in my backlog as possible. So I'd like to get to
Sure.
a point where I'm actually turning business away.
Yeah, okay. I think the main thing though is to make sure that the outreach to the 70 plus qualified leads, you get to an outcome, right? What is the outcome that you need?
Got it. Yeah,
There's no point in
a
automating
connection.
anything
Yeah, you're
or
right.
creating, right, until we get to the outcome. So let's define the outcome.
Yeah, okay. So the outcome for me would be, I mean, obviously a reply, but a reply that leads to a connection, getting a conversation going, um,
Okay.
with
So
these
out of
qualified
70
leads.
plus qualified leads, let's just say, 5% is typically a decent reply rate or engagement rate. So like
Okay.
that would be four,
Okay.
right? So four out of the 70 plus into conversations. So 4 to 5 engagements is what I would call.
Okay.
That would be a goal.
It's good to know it's 5% because that makes me feel a lot better about the constant rejection or complete ignoring messages that I've had in the past.
Yeah. I mean, what percentage of cold emails do you reply to? Probably less than 5%, right?
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
much less
exactly.
than 5%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's right, exactly. The only emails that I reply back to typically are people that I've already had relationships with or that they've been introduced by somebody else.
Yep. Right.
So
So everybody should be thinking about it from that context, right? It's like be empathetic to the recipient by being empathetic to yourself, right? So like, what do you think about? How do you engage? Everybody sending out something to you is in the same boat as you are.
got it.
So hopefully it also helps you think about how you want to message them, right? Like what's going to actually get them engaged with you. Maybe there's a way to look at these 70 plus qualified leads and figure out what are the 7 degrees of separation and figure out, how to
Well,
potentially leverage that.
if it's all right with you, I'd like to give you what I've got going so far for one lead as like an example. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna add that in this. I'll put it in the list there. Apologies, I have a lot of windows open here. So emails gathered. Um, oops. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this in a comment. That should be easier to read. There you go. This is to a potential client. So basically, this fits my ICP. I'm just going to read it out loud to you. So I spent some time looking at your website, your public search footprint, and it's pretty aggressively leaning into paid acquisition. So basically, I offer services to help improve their organic search performance. Anybody spending a lot of money on paid search is obviously a good target or should be a good match here. So pulling out the data from the enrichment that I've got, the actual queries that they're targeting in paid search, phishing, ransomware, deepfake protection, to help contextualize this, and then turning this into. I'm working on the refinement part of the bottom of. I don't want to be too salesy, but it is a sales pitch nonetheless. Um, an
So
op,
does
basically, if you're
somebody,
open, go ahead.
I guess if you're sharing, why are you sharing this? Is this something that somebody responded to or no?
No, these are the um, this is the messaging that I'm crafting, where I am trying to be empathic. I could probably use some refinement, to not be
It's
like too
yes,
salesy,
it's
but
too long.
too long. Okay.
Uh, and like none of you guys should be like the idea of crafting emails to me is it's just kind of overrated, meaning that I could send somebody like, "Hey, how's it going, man? Can you give me a quick reply? I have a question." And that simple statement might get used probably it probably would get a higher response reply rate
Got
than
it.
most of the stuff that you guys are spending like a day or two doing, right? And it's not it just there's no context to what I just said, right? But it's somewhat vague and general enough that probably it's going to get 5% plus reply rate, which then I can, if I'm only solving for reply rates or engagement, I solve for that, right? Then it's up to me what I do with that to see if I can turn it into something positive. You get what I'm saying? But if I
Yeah.
send something like this, am I going to get the reply? Right? This to me, probably not. And I feel like a lot of our inboxes are filled with stuff this long, and there's a reason why we don't reply to it. So
Yeah.
my point being is just if you focus this outreach as turning these 70 plus qualified leads and your outcome is 4 to 5 engagements or 4 to 5 replies, that's a different game than trying to whatever this like what is the goal for this, right? Which is educating them, selling them.
Yeah. This is a bit of a novel.
But I'm just trying to what is the
Yeah, no,
goal?
to
What is
answer
the
to answer your question is I've done my research. You're clearly paying for terms that you could rank well organically if you had a sound SEO strategy in the background actually supporting your
so what you
team.
just explained there is what you just explained to me is probably some version of what you should say,
Okay.
right? Because
Which is the
this
point.
is already feels when you talk about crafting, when you put too much thought into it, it automatically reads sales.
Got it.
It's so counterintuitive, and it just but again, think about it from your perspective, right? Like, why did you reply to the guy that was introduced by somebody else? I mean, honestly, you don't know. This guy may have just like looked you up and found out, hey, you know Matt also cool. Like, but again, we don't know. It just most of the times the things that you reply to, 50-50 chances of bullshit,
Yeah.
right? It's not it doesn't matter to us if we believe it to be true, right? But like again, you need to create whatever that semblance of reality is to get the reply from the recipient.
All right.
That's the goal. We just said that that's the goal. So let's focus on that.
Okay. That's good. That's good refinement. Um,
And getting to 4 to 5 replies may or may not require talking about your product or service,
okay.
right?
I mean, just highlighting the pain point. Uh, I assume that these are nagging items. It's like a squeaky wheel of, look, you're overpaying.
Sure.
So
But I mean,
fix it.
but sure. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's worth bringing up in the first engagement. Maybe it's worth bringing up in the second one,
Got it.
right? When do you introduce that? When you have somebody's attention, it's usually better to then, what I mean, like position the messaging when you have it. The
Okay.
first part is just getting the attention. That's the first hard part.
All right. These have to be condensed into what's the most
Yeah, and again, for this goes for everybody, right? It's like, I mean, this may be something I should go through in a work session, but I think like I challenge everybody to, you know, just take a sample list of 100 of your target customer, like target prospects, right? And like, don't mention your product or service at all. And all you're trying to do is get somebody to reply to you. That's the only goal. Let's do that. You're thinking that it's like you have one shot at getting them to close, right? Or getting them to a sale. That's never going to be the case. Nobody, you don't, as a consumer, you don't even buy cold. Do you know what I mean? So just think of it from that context. The first thing is capturing attention. Get their attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I would test it. So I'm challenging you. Like maybe half of them you want to talk about that pain point. The other half, I wouldn't even bring up whatever the pain point is. I would just make it so elusive that it's just like, how do you get them to like make the game getting them to reply to you? Just do that. And don't even bring up your product or service. Test half. Just try it. See what happens.
Got it. Yeah,
And
I
you'll be
will.
pleasantly surprised.
I will.
I mean, this, I remember like doing this 10 years ago, which was like just using the simple subject line of, hey, first name. So, hey, Ryland. Now everybody do now it's so commonplace to personalize the first name. But back then, 10 years ago, when you just wrote like, hey, first name and hey, using hey in the subject line where it was like completely like unprofessional and just hyper personal, that got me like a freaking like 70-80% open rate. Like, I mean, but the same philosophy applies, right? How do you do something different enough so it gets somebody to be jarred? And then again, when you get somebody jarred, you have their attention. So,
Yeah.
all right, cool.
This is good. I
Yep,
appreciate this, Chris.
yep,
Thank you.
of course. All right, cool. We're Bodhi.
Hey Chris,
Hey.
so I was off last week.
Yep,
So basically following up with all the trials going into the holidays,
yep.
and I have two meetings already set up for 6 or 7 of those trials this week. And the goal is to get meetings with everyone and either get a yes or a no, not leave like any gray area or maybes. And the ones that were on the higher side that I think they would convert, like try really hard to convert. My biggest question is like, given once I get past all these people that were trying out the platform, should I go back and fill up my pipeline and keep, you know, putting more people through the trial and demos and stuff like that? Like always have like a pipeline or just focus on the people that were high conviction and try to get a yes from them? Because
So yeah, the
if I
answer is
can convert all of the above, okay.
all the above, right? So you
Mhm.
just you have to think about your bandwidth, especially from founder-led sales in the very beginning. You just need to be super disciplined around what the mix of your time is going to look like, right? And so, you don't if you had zero pipeline, right, 100% of your time should be spent on filling your pipeline. But if you already have pipeline, right, you're not going to need to spend 100%. Like if you're working 40, 50 hours a week, on the low, that's, low side as a startup founder, but like you don't need to spend 100% of 40 to 50 hours with, 40 deals in your pipeline. Like that's, you're not, you can only do so much,
Right.
right? Unless you have like thousands of deals in your pipeline, that's a different story. I can see having to allocate 100% of a 40, 50 hour week to that, but that's probably not the case. And so what I would just say is, look, just be very disciplined with how you're going to spread that time. And
Okay.
and I think like more than anything, and just kind of this is how I do things now, which is like you don't have to sit in front of a computer to execute. To figure out what you're going to execute. I think it's important to think through and sometimes this is just like sitting in front of like a notepad, like just writing stuff down or whatever it might be, but like think through what you want to do with the time that you're going to do when you sit down, right? And in front of your laptop or in front of your desktop, whatever it's going to be. Like, all right, so in the morning when you're having your coffee or if you're going for a walk, like these are the moments where I think it's like easier for you to be like, okay, I'm going to tackle 50 of the pipeline. I know that 20 of them are going to need a proposal. 30 of them are going to need some kind of follow-up. The follow-ups I'm going to do is going to be centered around X, Y, and Z. And just kind of like mental map it in your head. So by the time you get in front of your laptop, right, it's just all about I'm just knocking it out, if that
Okay.
makes sense, right? So, and I think like if you're looking at a 40 to 50 hour work week, like it's best to actually spend like 10% of that week doing that kind of like mental mapping to figure out what you're going to do versus like sitting in front, like sometimes it's like a death stare, right? It's like you sit in front of your laptop and it's like, I've got to get through 50. I don't even know how I'm going to try to tackle this. And you end up, I think like just being your own worst enemy of just like you're stagnating because you don't even know where to start. Versus if you kind of like pre-prep it in your head, so by the time
Right.
you get in front of it, it's a different thing. It's almost like going to the gym and like, if you've never worked out really, it's overwhelming. You don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
There's so much equipment, right? But like if you don't know what you're doing, that's fine. If you've done your research, beforehand, you were scrolling through Instagram, you looked at different reels and then you just like save, 5 exercises, then you get to the gym, right? You're just knocking out those 5 exercises. I think try to find the similarity of what that example is of like how can you apply that to the way that you work because it's just
Right.
going to make it more of like a binary decision making process than it is overly subjective and then you're getting in your own head and this is when you're crafting stuff you're spending 30 minutes on writing a single email and it should what I mean like those are the things that start really eating into your time and then you feel like oh I only can choose one.
Okay. So the follow-up question to that is to fill up the pipeline. The last time we filled up a pipeline was coming out from the conference and
Yeah,
just like sending an email to everyone that was at the conference. So that was an easy like, hey, you were there. If we missed you, schedule a demo. It worked really well. My goal is to just do another email blast to that same,
that's
email
fine.
list.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right.
Right.
And just
Basically,
keep blasting
you can
them.
yeah, you can keep blasting them until you get a binary response of a yes or no from the every single person in that group.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, and
Cool.
and the last thing is that, we're in Dallas this week with our, first white label partner slash
Yep.
pre-seed investor. So we're
Okay.
just like discussing the product roadmap to try to understand what their go-to-market is and what their clients are asking for. So kind of like gives us a good handle on like what our product is going to be for the next coming quarters.
Yep. Yeah. So I would again like try. I mean, I'll leave it up to you to fill this in, but like let's attach a number to how many customers you would like to close, and then how many new deals you would like to fill into your pipeline over the next 2 weeks.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Cool. We're going to Emily K. Okay. And then let's say Christopher N.
I'm here. Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Hey, so yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I dropped the ball. I didn't send any surveys out, or do a lot of work on the project. And I guess that's the good thing about the accountability group is that you can be honest about it. I was gonna lie and say, yeah, I sent something out, but to be honest, I didn't do any. But since
Sure.
it's the new year, get some momentum. And I want to get your advice as well because I've realized like a lot of these brokers, I can just call them and they pick up the phone. And maybe it might be better than an email. Because when I sent out the
Sure.
100 previously, I got like 4 or 5 responses about one email, but they're open to talking for a quick 15-minute sesh. So like I can just maybe just ask a survey to them on that call because they have to pick up their phone because they wanna sell that business. So that might be a golden egg, but let me know what you think.
Yeah, so why do we have here 200 emails if that's not a good use of time, right? So let's do that where I would say between now and 2 weeks, if you're saying it's pretty easy, 5 calls a week, 5 conversations a week. So get to 10 conversations.
Perfect. Yeah, I can do that. And you're right about breaking up the all the problems. So it's just better just to break up on specifically what problem to ask to figure out what it is. But that's it for my end.
And then real quick, I mean, I guess to that point is like I appreciate you, being honest instead of like making up something. That being said, I guess like what was the hiccup for you? If you could maybe dwell on it just a little bit, but like from being more active in the past week than you would have liked to be.
Yeah, so I guess candidly, my mom isn't back in town, so she's from Florida, and I'm
Hmm.
renting out my house, like about to rent out a few of my rooms. We're just renovating the house, and I got caught up with a lot of things. And it's not an excuse because like it only takes like a few hours to kind of do some of this work, but just try to stay centered as much as possible. But trying to see, like the purpose and goal of just doing this group, but essentially just trying to clean up the house before renting out some of the rooms.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like too many priorities right now. Like too many. I have to figure out what's the most important thing at that moment. So, but now my mom's back home. So back to this accountability thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper because I think this is again important to me, and I think it's also all right. So I get what you just said. 100% understand that you just had maybe like another variable introduced into an average week that you weren't expecting, and so that led to you having to allocate more bandwidth and mental health space, physical space into something else. Did you see spend any time with friends during this time, or did you have any downtime? Did you watch anything on streaming? Were you on social media or on your phone? Were there any hours, I'm just saying, that you spent recreationally that could have been allocated towards getting something done?
Oh no, 100%. I think
Okay.
it's always possible. Like I said, I just wanted just to be honest, like I didn't do it. And I feel
No, okay.
I'm just like I didn't do it. And I need to get back onto the wheel. Like everyone
Okay.
has the opportunity to send out like 50 emails, 100 emails, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
All good.
So it's
Yeah,
all on
yeah.
me.
It's fair. I get it. I think for me, it's important to have you be self-aware enough of like where was the ball dropped, right? Is the ball dropped because there's a new variable introduced and you had to take care of this house stuff in your own heart of hearts? Is that the answer? Or is it like, yeah, I had another variable and so it took a lot of energy out of me and I just really didn't want to do exhaust any more further energy into doing this, right? Like, which is totally acceptable too. I
Hmm.
think it's just trying to understand from your perspective, like where that is, just so that next time that happens, you can conscientiously make the decisions like, I'm fucking exhausted. I don't want to do this. But that's the
Hmm.
reason, right? Like, I'm just fucking exhausted because this new thing happened, and that's the reason I'm not going to do it, which is a
Hmm.
completely okay answer as well. Um, but I think we need to be I think for me, for the accountability stuff, the thing that's worked out well for me in going through this kind of journey on my own has just also been like we just need to be honest with ourselves, like what the reason is. Give ourselves the grace of making these mistakes of like the fucking reason is because I was lazy and I was tired, right?
Yep.
Cool. That's this week. Next week it's not going to happen, right? But I think that's what we need to get into the routine of like embracing and just accepting as our reality because there's always I'm sure anybody in this group can say some other variable happened this past week, right? Family related, not family related. There's just so many things that could have been, right? And that's always going to happen in some way, shape, or form. You guys are doing your own business. Like there will always be some shit that hits the fan. If shit's not hitting the fan on a daily, if not, for sure weekly basis, you're probably not doing something right.
Exactly.
Right. So, anyways. appreciate you being candid. I think it's just like, yeah, you can think about it. Let's keep pushing forward. I think let's figure out how you get to the 10 conversations. If to me, like if you're saying calls are gonna be it and you know it's gonna be it, let's do that. Let's not do the thing that's not gonna work.
Perfect. I love that. We'll
All right.
do. I think it'd be easier
Cool.
anyways too. So calling is better.
Cool.
Cool. Thanks,
Kathleen?
Britt.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm like 50% like complete over the
Okay.
last couple of weeks. So I did get my Phantom automation going and I did
Cool.
liking because I've seen a lot of content, like people responding to like making content on LinkedIn, especially in the logistics community, saying, I can't believe people made bots to like auto comment on posts. So I thought, let
Mhm.
me try liking it first. And
Mhm.
it's been great. I've been going through it this morning and just looking at all the posts it liked, and I'm just clicking through and see like, I wonder if there's a way I could interact with it, something like that. So that's good. That's been running. I set that up
Mhm.
last week on like Monday, or Tuesday. So actually the past week I've been traveling. I did a road trip and like you went to Colorado, Utah, all that with my boyfriend. Super fun. I did sneak in some work early last week to do stuff like this, stuff for my customers. So and then I did put in the accountability group, okay, I'm gonna work on a new website, with the inflation calculation. And so did I do work on that? Maybe like only 1%. So this morning I
Mhm.
only spent time, I picked out a couple websites that I like and I've just been kind of breaking them down because my landing page has always sucked. They like were never good. And I found a couple of good landing pages over the past month that, I saved because I really like them and I want to emulate them. And I didn't work the few last few days because I'm gonna be super honest, like uh I'd say quarter 4 was pretty much a big L for me because I like pitched to a ton of VCs and basically got rejected by everyone. I think I had like probably like 30 calls. And so I was like, okay, this is the point that a lot of people want to quit, but you're not going to quit. So you're just going to enjoy this vacation, enjoy looking at the canyons, enjoy looking at the rocks to fill your pot up because then when you're back, you're going to be back. And so I definitely feel like, I'm slowly ramping up again. I'm doing work again because I did do work a little bit during my vacation last week, but
Yeah.
yeah, just making sure I'm coming in. Also thought about but my time wasn't like I wasn't doing anything. I definitely try to use that time for inspiration to think about what my new brand identity was going to look like because like my competitors have been able to raise funds, but I haven't. So I thought about, okay, strategically, like what can I do? How can I compete? I'm like, well, I could always compete on brand. I could always have a really recognizable brand. I'm a very creative person. And so I feel like I came out of this vacation like, all right, I didn't build the website, but that's okay. Claude is going to build that in 20 seconds. What I need to establish is what's my brand voice, what's the landing page, and just kind of putting that together. So that's where the point I'm at is I came from a trip. I'm inspired. I have like an idea where I want my brand to go so people remember the product, and just execute on that. So,
Got it. Okay. So I think also before you get to the landing pages, I think
mhm.
there's an important lesson in you said you had 30 plus like VC meetings,
Yeah, yeah, 30. I had 30 conversations. Yeah. Over
conversations. Okay.
like
I
Q4.
mean, so to me, I would spend time to go through each of those conversations and nitpick the hell out of them, understand why they why they rejected you, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, totally. That's valid. But also I feel like valid, but also I feel like at this point it's like I just want to figure out how am I going to be differentiated? Like I know we're a differentiated product and I know we deliver value, but it may be just like I am a solo founder, so that might be a self-limiting thought. I could, spend time and I will spend time on some conversations looking at some of the audio thing, but I don't want to get too mentally caught up with it because you just have to move forward. Like, you know what I mean? Like because
yeah,
while
yeah,
my
yeah. No,
competitors
so
are
this
already
is how I would leverage that for moving forward.
okay. All right.
And I'll give you an example for why, right? This is important, I
All
think,
right.
because I now work with Mucker Capital for the past 6 years, but they
Yeah.
passed on my first startup that I pitched them 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but I dug into the reasons why they rejected me, and
Mm,
that helped us pivot the business to then change it to ultimately something that we were able to, exit for a small amount, but we are able to do that.
mm,
Um, and so I think like rejection is always hard, but I think if instead of to me rejection isn't the right like we shouldn't look at it as a negative connotation, but we should look at it as like, what can I learn from it? And this goes to like every reason why a customer doesn't move. Like objection tracking is such a critical component of part of like your guys's journey. Objection
Mhm.
tracking, which is basically what that means is like, why does a customer ghost you? Why does a customer not buy your product or service, right?
Okay.
Understanding what that looks like and being able to start statistically tracking that information is
Mhm.
just as equally valuable as it is to get somebody to pay you for your product or service. Um, you will every I would say like 99% of companies that hit 100 million plus in ARR or annual revenue have changed for sure at least 5 times what their core product or service offering is
Mhm.
from idea conception, right? And that was driven by ultimately the rejections or the objections.
Mhm.
And I think that's, and what I'm trying to say is because before you start building a landing page that
Mhm.
might potentially yield more rejection, why don't we look at potentially why it's rejected and can you combat that or can you rebut that in the landing pages
Mhm.
and by identifying what those are now so
Mhm.
you could answer that so that your pages will actually be more effective in educating or getting in front of something that somebody may have pointed out.
Yeah, that's a really good point too, because like if you're gonna just be doing outbound and just throwing out outbound and then you're just constantly getting rejections, it's like that is wasted. You just burned a lead. So that's a really good point. I had a few calls towards the end of December that like one of them was like this so it was like two founders. One of them liked me, but they had already invested a lot in internal software and the CEO like he was like, well, we already invested that. So I should go back to those conversations, evaluate why. He keeps pushing off the date. He hasn't flat out said no, but whatever. And then I have another customer, a prospect, sorry, who they, there's a decision maker, the CEO, she set up the meeting. The CFO liked the product a lot. She says, okay, I want to move forward. Then they had their weekly meeting, business partner meeting. I think 3 people own the business and they, wanted to push off the meeting till this week actually. So I have to follow up with them tomorrow. They said today actually, January 5th. So I think yeah, it's a good point. Also understanding behind VCs, like at the end of the day, like it's all about messaging. Maybe my messaging wasn't clear, because
Yeah.
these guys are going to be going to the website and if the
Which
messaging's clear,
again, exactly. And so that I think you don't need to overkill it and like, put
yeah.
yourself down through this like rejection spiral, but I think it's
Oh, I'll
important
just
if
make
you
AI do it.
yeah,
Just
exactly.
organize
You
it for
can
me.
you can you can do that, right? Which is I
Yeah.
think like but I would try to figure out the learnings from that so you can make
Yeah.
your page whatever you're going to be putting your time and effort in to like that you're not just going into it right now completely subjective, right?
Yeah.
You have some data, and why don't you
Yes.
leverage that data to give you some direction?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it. I will spend some time on that today. So, and it shouldn't take long. We have AI now, so I could just download the transcripts and like
Yep,
the prompt could be like, give me 3 reasons why there was what are some you said objection reasons, and frame it in a way that could be around the messaging of how I'm presenting the
sure,
product. Does that sound
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay, great. Thank you.
cool. All
Yay.
right. Caroline M.
Hey, Chris.
Hey,
My MVP is coming along.
okay,
I've added a bunch of features. It's a little bit rougher on the edges in places, so I want to get that refined and then test it or demo it with 5 people this coming week.
okay, okay. I mean, I think that makes sense. So let's demo it before our next conversation.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to share?
No, I mean, I'm working on additional features kind of in parallel, but that's my goal for this week to demo what I
Okay,
have to date to 5 people.
fair enough.
All right,
Okay, cool.
thanks.
Yep, Justin W. Yep.
Hey, sorry about that, Chris. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, so I had a goal of getting 20 operators on a wait list, and I was able to get 17 of the 20, which feeling pretty good about. Um, there were a couple days there that we didn't have access to like the mass email campaign feature of Centigrade, and the automation wasn't up. So that's what's going on there. But my goal for next week or the next 2 weeks is a couple things. One, I want to get an offer out to a seller. I'm screening 10 candidates between today and tomorrow. And then I want to get 50 users on the wait list. So last 2 weeks was 20, but now that I kind of got it down, I want to ramp up and get 50.
How are you planning to get to the 50?
So we have a database of many operators, and so I've been A/B testing messaging, but
Yeah.
it's automation through the combination of Monday.com and SendGrid,
Okay.
sending out mass email blasts.
Okay.
But I've been going kind of slow. I've been doing maybe 500 at a time, um, just while I'm A/B testing and figuring out the best way to do this. But now that I'm a little bit more confident about how it's working, I can do much more than that at this point.
Got it. Okay. All right.
And I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
So Dripify, right? We're using LinkedIn engagement tools. There's Phantom Buster and there's Dripify.
Uh-huh.
Do you have kind of thoughts or reactions to each of those? And maybe which one would be better for, a very early stage startup?
Yeah, Phantom Bus is probably the most cost effective. Just because it's one of the tools within the toolkit of Phantom Buster, so you can leverage it for multiple other things. Things like Dripify and Lemlist are just Lemlist is another good one, but they're more powerful, meaning like you can leverage multiple LinkedIn accounts, so you can scale up the outreach efforts through LinkedIn. That's
What's
probably
that
the
platform
biggest
called?
Lemlist. There's a few. There's like a handful of different ones for
Okay.
sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to that, my point being is just that, yeah, I think um, there's a bunch of different ones you can try that I think will get you to what the outcome that you're looking for.
Okay. I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna try Dripify, sign up this week, and I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions on that?
I guess on the other thing is that I sent out about 741 emails on Friday, and I want to get your input on some of these metrics. It says 70, well, the deliverability. The open rate was 68%. The click rate
Mm-hmm.
was 8%.
Okay.
Um, but I know you were saying like, hey, these could be bots that are opening it or firewalls or
Yeah,
something
so
like
the 8% click rate would yield how many number? What's the number for that?
that. Something like 60 or
Okay.
like 55 people.
So the best way to do that is like with the click rate and using either like Google Analytics, but I don't know, to be honest, I think something like a plausible, which you just put a tracking pixel onto your site and it shows you like what traffic looks like. Using the click-through rate and the actual number of clicks in conjunction with a plausible will then give you some semblance of like how accurate those numbers are.
Okay, awesome.
Right. So the email provider that's showing you the sends and the clicks, yeah, it may be not accurate, but if you use it in conjunction with like a pixel tracking tool like plausible, it at least like plausible is pretty accurate. It's more accurate actually than Google Analytics.
Okay, cool.
So I would use that, and then that way you know you with whether or not you can be like, okay, whatever I'm looking at from the email provider is actually somewhat reliable, or you just completely just disregard it. And then just go to plausible use then at that point like UTM tracking links to then know and like be able to attribute where the traffic spike came from.
Got it.
Right. Meaning as it relates to a specific campaign, specific email, etc. Cool.
All right. I think that's it. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. Jason G. See you filling stuff out. I think you had your hand raised. Oh, okay. Got it. All right, Jason's there. Jag. Yep. Takeshi.
Yep. So, yeah, last week I was on vacation, so I didn't get much done, but I had a good meeting with Shopline.
Yeah.
Shopline is like it's like a Shopify out of Asia. They're trying to get in the US market. So they're looking for app partners. And I just had a meeting with them, and then we decided to work on at least one project together to get that
Okay.
partnership going. So um, yeah, I think they have like 500,000, 600,000 stores worldwide. And if this works, that they're going to be like introducing us to their partners or to their customers.
And what does the scope of this partnership look like?
Basically, the scope is like it'd be like a profit share type of thing.
Okay.
They will introduce us. We got to share profit with them on the subscription or AI service that we do.
Okay.
Yeah,
And is this a signed pilot, signed contract, or how does it work?
not yet, not yet. Haven't got there yet, but I just had a first meeting or two meetings already.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna have another one this week or next week with the potential, I guess, a jewelry supplier or a jewelry store that we might uh, do testing with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So between now and and then within the next 2 weeks, what would you like to accomplish with this partnership deal?
So
What would be
I
a
want to get
tangible
this
outcome?
going. Yeah, like at least like get this going.
Okay, so like typically with something of this size,
Yeah.
it's doesn't happen fast.
Yeah.
So what is a tangible next step for it? Like I don't expect you're gonna get a contract signed,
Yeah.
but you need to work your way towards a legal partnership,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because only in a legal partnership are they going to be responsible for paying you anything.
Yeah. Yep.
So how do we get towards that?
So I need to set up a meeting with a jewelry supplier, and they'll explain, like Shopline is going to explain about their website and their technology, and then once they agree, then we'll build it out, the website, and then we'll also integrate our app with it, so we could do beta testing together.
Okay, and do you think you can have that? Is that going to happen?
Yeah, I think
In the
this week, yeah, for sure. I'm going to target to have that meeting this week,
Okay.
and then I'm going to the NRF this weekend, so I'm going to try to look for more potential partnerships as
Got it.
well. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yep.
All right, Ilya.
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
Mm, Yeah, the goal was to come to the 10 calls
Yep.
completed. I managed to have one call only this last week.
Okay.
Also another one got rescheduled. Yeah, and yeah, I think it basically relates to kind of holidays and everything. But
Okay.
yeah, really keen to finish it as a goal. Yeah, and also I outlined the new MVP features,
Okay.
and I guess my kind of next plan is to finish those couple of calls
Okay.
and maybe create a super ugly first version of that MVP,
Okay.
and then send it to basically to those people that I spoke with recently.
Okay.
something like that. Yeah. But yeah, for now, I really want to kind of finish those goals.
All right, fair enough. So
Yeah.
priority number one is 8 more calls to complete. Priority number two, if you can get to it, is get the MVP, MVP to new beta users.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I think that makes sense. You have a way to get to these calls, so I think that eight now with the new year with 2 weeks, that should be enough time.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Nick K.
Oh, thanks.
Hey Chris, how's it
Hey,
going?
you're good?
Good, good. So it's been a couple weeks, was out. But before I left, did a couple ICP interviews with a new product demo. Got some initial feedback, spent time kind of refining the demo a little bit just because there was some confusion. And have three more ICP interviews scheduled for this week. So my goal is obviously to do those and then kind of distill this lovable demo down to what does the initial MVP look like based on kind of what seems to be resonating with these interviews, and then kind of come up with a plan for what the initial kind of pilot offer might be and build a wait list around that.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Um, so I think the first goal is fine, which is taking your ICP interview insights and then distilling them. Um, so I think that's one tangible thing, which is getting the most impactful MVP. Create a paid pilot offer that creates a wait list.
So
So
essentially, yeah, what is that initial MVP offer going to be, and can I create a wait list for that ahead of starting to build it myself?
yeah, I understand. So to me, the question is like, it's not can it create a wait list, right? Because the reality is, I could sell a pile of dog shit, and I think people have done this before. So it's like you can get people to buy pretty much anything out of however many billion people are in the world, right? So I think like at the end of the day, it's just trying to figure out where does that audience live and how do I get that in front of them. So to me, it's not if you can create a wait list, it's just all right, you're creating this MVP ideally for these ICP interviews. So how
Mm-hmm.
many total interviews would you have completed by the time you have the MVP done is the question. And to then would be, can you get those onto the wait list?
I see. Okay, so essentially, I should be just focused on doing as many of these ICP interviews as possible while I'm refining this demo
They
down.
should basically be your wait list, right? So like that's what my point is. So if you've done like
Mm,
50 of these ICP interviews, your goal when you say I'm going to go generate a wait list, it's not can I create it, but like my goal is to get 50 of these ICPs interviews that I did that I spoke to onto the wait list.
right, right. Okay, yeah. And I've only done, I mean, by the end of this week, it'll only be five interviews. So
Okay.
I've got some ways to go there on building a wait list.
That's fine. But I mean, wait list is like that's fine, right? So like it could be those again, 5 interviews might be enough for you. It may not be, right? I think like, honestly the goal should be like 30
Hmm.
just to have some statistical validity to it. But that being said, if you like have 10 conversations and all 10 be like, yeah, I would pay for this tomorrow, right? Or pay for this right now if you had it, then you can probably stop at 10 and just finish that MVP and get them to pay,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
You're the one who's had these conversations. I don't know. I'm just providing the spectrum of what the possibilities are.
No, that totally makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So I think a big part, I mean, still obviously want to distill this MVP down or down to the MVP. But I think getting more insights and kind of using that as the start of my wait list is a great idea. So I think that'll be where my focus lies.
Yeah, so I would create a clear paid pilot offer and then get all or like percentage of uh ICP interviews onto said wait list,
Yeah.
right? So
Okay.
whatever that number is, you by the end of whatever, whenever you have the visibility or you feel like you have some statistical direction, that's when you finish the MVP, and then you should go back to them, and you should have the people already there to go back to and re-engage and get them onto your list.
Okay. That makes sense.
Oh. All right. Thomas W. Okay. Sarah S. Okay. Anybody else I missed? Got it. Okay, cool. Yep, I think that's it for this week then. Again, reminder, and I'll send it out in the WhatsApp group, but like next week we'll go through a work session. I'll have some information on it in the WhatsApp group, and then we'll be following up on these milestones within 2 weeks. 2 weeks again is a lot of time to get a lot of the shit done. So like I feel like we're not being super aggressive yet. I know you still have a bunch of things that you guys have to accomplish on a daily, weekly basis, but this is your baby, right? This is your project. This is your startup. So, um I think after this month going into February, I'm definitely going to start pushing for some more aggressive milestones from each of you guys. But I think we're starting to build up some of that momentum. So let's hit the new year running. Again, good job for everybody that's been sticking with this and just being consistent, man. Just showing up is so important. So many people that say they want to do it don't show up, you know. You guys are just showing up and just keep at it. Hopefully you guys just continue to learn. Don't be so hard on yourselves. Give you the grace, give yourself grace and all that stuff too. But let's just, dial in when you have to dial in. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much, Chris.
All right. Bye.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chris.